Can you answer my question?
What's your question?
How many are we going to take? Hundreds of millions of people who want to leave their countries in the developing world and they want to come and live here. How many are we going to take? Give me a number.
Well, no, I'm not going to give you a number.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Julian Discourse. Have you ever noticed that the elites who preach the loudest about open borders are never the ones who actually have to live with the consequences? In this explosive TalkTV clash, watch Julia Hartley-Brewer completely shame a smug Church of England priest who tries to defend a disastrous new plan to give illegal migrants immediate the right to work and taxpayer-funded business loans. Hit subscribe and let's watch the establishment narrative collapse in real time.
Into the belly of the powerful beast in Jerusalem to take on the Roman and Jewish authorities of the day, and it cost him his life for doing so. I repeat that it's a duty for Christians to speak out for and to speak truth to power, to speak Christian truth to power. You say that he should be apolitical. Well, I mean, you know, as soon as you express an opinion, you can find yourself in a political position or being critical of one side or the other. You allude a moment ago to him always appearing to be Tory bashing. Well, I'm not sure that's entirely true. I mean, you know, we're talking about a highly privileged old Etonian who in the past has defended, I think, Prince Andrew, and he's defended Boris Johnson in some circumstances. So, I mean, you know, I think he's entitled to express his opinion as he sees it. It's always... The objection always comes when it's opinion that the politicians and particularly red-faced Tory backbenchers find disagreeable. Yeah. And that's when they sort of... It's interesting in that context, Julia, that very often when there's an issue about family values or abortion policy or something, you'll hear the very same people going, where are the bishops on this matter?
Okay, so people want it both ways. I understand your point about, you know, the duty of someone of Christian faith, and particularly in his position, to speak out on issues that he considers to be big moral issues. A lot of our audience are getting in touch today saying, well, okay, what's your plan then? You know, if you support what he has to say, we're told that it's morally unacceptable, it's impractical, you can't leave, you know, not only he talked about the reputation of this country abroad, and you can't leave poorer countries around the world to deal with this and have to take all the refugees. We've got a duty of care to these people. And like, well, a lot of people in this country will say, well, what about duty of care to people here who already can't, you know, find housing and services and paying high taxes and the like. But you know, what is his solution then? How many of these people do we take?
Well, the first thing to say is that I don't know what his solution is, Julia, because I don't work for the Archbishop of Canterbury anymore. But
you support what he says. What was your solution?
Within that clip that you played, he was saying that what we have is a collective responsibility to address the problem at source. The migration problem that is growing in this century is an enormous one, and the southern cone, if you like, the southern hemisphere, is going increasingly to be migrating north to more prosperous economies and so on. And that's a problem that we should collectively address. I mean, Julia, if only there was some sort of pan-European group or federation that could organise this themselves.
Can I just say, the EU isn't very... no, but George, this is hilarious, because the EU are battling about this. The East and the Western European nations in battle already. Italy in battle with France and with Germany about this.
Many more than we are, yeah.
Well, no, but not through choice. I mean, Giorgia Meloni isn't taking them through choice. She's, you know, they haven't got any choice. People are arriving on those boats. I mean, but this is the thing. You say we need to have a collective...
They're dealing with it very much better.
They're trying to ship them out. The main thing is there's such high joblessness in Italy. They're not staying in Italy, so that's the only thing that works.
Look at what France and Germany are doing. But the point here, Julia...
Have you been to Paris lately and seen the people sleeping on the streets?
Yeah, well, you know, look at London by comparison as well. Of course, it's a very difficult problem, but it's one that we have to.
But it's the idea. It's this ridiculous idea that
with regard to those countries that they come from.
But George, it's this idea that the EU's dealing with it so much better. They're really not. I mean, and if you're talking about people taking action, I think the action is going to be that everyone's going to say, let's just build a wall. You say we need to take collective responsibility to address that source. The problem is, lots of countries are poorer. And there are countries that are war-torn or facing, civil strife and the like, and people want to go somewhere they've got better prospects.
Those are precisely the issues we should be addressing,
Well,
Julia.
exactly. Well, when you say we should address them, the very same arguments were used, like, we mustn't get involved in the Syrian war. It's not our problem. We shouldn't get involved in it. It's a moral argument. We shouldn't be taking sides and lead us to it. And then you have a massive problem with people being displaced from Syria. And then what do we do? People don't want to get involved in the Ukraine war. Well, then you have all the Ukrainian women and children having to leave the country for safety because of the Russian invasion. The reality is we're not going to solve every war, and we're not going to suddenly make the developing world much, much richer so people want to stay there. So there are going to be tens, even hundreds of millions of people who are going to want to move to countries in Europe to live with us. How many of them do we take?
Well, it's lovely to have you on my show, Julia, and to hear your opinion.
Why don't you answer the question? How many are we going to take?
Well, listen, we take... The ones in the small boats are a small drop in the ocean, if that's not a rather vulgar way of putting it. There are literally millions that arrive legally on aeroplanes and so on, except we are more concerned with making dog whistle demonisation issues out of the ones that are arriving on boats.
We're demonising people who pay thousands of pounds to people traffickers who arrive illegally. Can you answer my question, George? Can you answer my question?
What's your question?
How many are we going to take? Hundreds of millions of people who want to leave their countries in the developing world and they want to come and live here. How many are we going to take? Give me a number.
Well, no, I'm not going to give you a number. What I'm going to say is that I think the Archbishop of Canterbury is saying that what would be a far better mechanism, rather than making knee-jerk isolationist moves like we're going to defeat the small boats, is to have a decent system of processing, a cooperative arrangement with other countries for doing so, a cooperative arrangement with other countries for addressing the migration issues at source, rather than simply going, we're an island off the northwest of Europe and we're going to have nothing to do with it, which appears
George,
to be the government solution.
I asked you a question.
It's the government that is cutting international aid.
Okay, George, I asked you a question, and I asked this question of everyone who says they don't like this policy. I think there are plenty of things you can criticise about this migration law, the Rwanda policy. There's plenty to criticise. But every time someone criticises it, I always say, what's your solution? We should work better, collective responsibility. At the end of the day, we're either going to take a load of these people or we're not. We're not going to solve the world's crises ever, frankly, ever. There will always be richer and poorer countries. So at the end of the day, you've got hundreds of millions of people who want to come to Europe. Many of them will want to come to the UK. How many do we take? You can talk about we can work as a collective. We can all be nice. We can have lots of meetings. At the end of the day, how many are we going to take? That's what you've got to answer.
You can satirise being collective and suggest that that's a sort of namby-pamby, snowflake liberal thing to be.
How many are we going to take?
It's sensible. I don't know how many.
No, but you've got to. Okay, I'm not to the last person, George.
We don't know how many there are.
We do. We know that there are going to be at least tens of millions and probably hundreds of millions.
No, that's just a ridiculous Suella Braverman frightening tactic. It's just Suella Braverman saying there are a billion people on the move or something that may want to come to the UK. That's another means of simply putting the frighteners on the situation. Right. You've got
let's say there's only 500,000.
Like Justin Welby saying, look, surely we should get a grasp of what the situation consists of and address it. And
address it. You can have meetings and you can make speeches. At the end of the day, you've got a load of people from poor and or war-torn countries who want to come and live in Europe, including in the UK. How many are we going to take? Do we take 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million? Back in 2015, Germany opened their doors. They had a couple of million people turn up. It's not worked out very well for them. Sweden, Denmark, the same. Not worked out very well for them. They are regretting those decisions. How many are we going to take?
I don't think I don't know what evidence.
What you just witnessed on TalkTV is the absolute peak of elite moral arrogance exposed on live television. When Julia Hartley-Brewer confronted that Church of England priest over his disastrous border proposals, his response was the exact same tired gaslighting we've come to expect. He tried to sell a plan to give unvetted, illegal migrants taxpayer-funded business loans as a brilliant economic strategy. Let's translate what that actually means. The establishment expects struggling British citizens to actively subsidize the very people breaking into their country. To understand the sheer scale of this institutional disconnect, you have to look at the undeniable facts. In March 2024, the Commission on the Integration of Refugees, heavily backed by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, released a controversial report demanding that the UK government offer the immediate right to work and state-backed financial business loans to asylum seekers from day one. Think about how completely perverse that is. At the exact same time this report was published, official National Audit Office data confirmed that the British taxpayer was bleeding over $8 million every single day just to house illegal arrivals in hotels and military bases. Yet, the religious and political elite thought the solution was to hand out even more public cash. As Julia brilliantly pointed out, if you advertise to the world that crossing the English Channel illegally on a smuggler's boat guarantees free housing, free language lessons, and government cash to start a business, you aren't solving the border crisis. You are effectively acting as the marketing department for the human trafficking cartels. The establishment elite, sitting safely in their insulated estates, refuse to secure the border because they don't have to live with the consequences. They demand your endless compassion, but what they really want is your silent submission. Thank you for watching Julian Discourse. If you refuse to let the elite treat your tax dollars like monopoly money, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and I'll see you next time.